Back now with a brutal, deadly attack on a teen in Las Vegas. Now 8 are facing murder charges and police are looking for more. Miguel Almaguer has the details, and I have to warn you, the video is disturbing.
Investigators say the swarm of high school students punched, kicked, and stomped to death 17-year-old Jonathan Lewis. Using viral videos of the brutal beating, police say they've now identified 8 of the victim's classmates, arresting the suspects between 13 and 17 years old for murder.
What you see in the video, though, is approximately 10 subjects kicking, stomping, and punching our victim, Jonathan, as he's on the ground, not defending himself, and to the point where he becomes unconscious.
Left to die alone in this alleyway, a passerby found Lewis unresponsive, rushing him to a nearby high school. The coroner listing his cause of death, blunt force trauma homicide, as police work to identify at least 2 other students.
Just an incredible young man who just loved life.
Lewis's father says his son was defending a smaller friend.
It's just like absolute lunacy. It just looks like these kids have gone totally mad.
Police believe the fight was over stolen headphones and possibly a marijuana vape pen taken from the victim or his friend.
Wow, this is one of the saddest stories I've ever heard of in my life.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Man, welcome back to another episode of the Ruling Class Podcast, or Didi Got a Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi, back up in this witch with another video. Listen, if you're new to the show, please know we are thirsty to grow and to drink some of this water. You can help me out by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to give you a sec to do that. Tell me out. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for me. Really, really appreciate it. Yo, and listen, I'm super late on this video. Just want to inform everybody, you should be seeing it on the screen right now. I am officially on TikTok. I am officially on X, formerly known as Twitter, right? And of course, I already have the Instagram page that a lot of you should know about already. But if you do not, I ask that you please go and follow the Instagram page, the Twitter page or the X page, and the TikTok page. Listen, I am trying to grow my brand on all these different platforms now. So I would really, really appreciate it. If you support the message, I would really, really appreciate it if you went and followed me over there. I'm a little late on this video, man. I went to Vegas about 3 weeks ago. It was my first time on a plane. I'm almost 30. It's my first time on a plane. It was my first time, like, just making the trip so far away, like the day before. Like, I decided the day before to go. I went to support a friend. And I went down there, and I said I was going to officially start my street interviews once I made it to Vegas. Right, yes, Didi is going to be officially started doing street interviews, and it's a plethora of different things I ask people about, and I've already posted a couple of things to the channel here, and I'm like, man, I'm starting to post, I'm randomly posting these interviews online, and I haven't even updated the people on, you know, the origins of how this came about, or what the trip to Vegas was like, man. And in the wake of this sad story, that just came out of Vegas.
4 suspects facing second-degree murder charges in the beating death of Rancho High School student Jonathan Lewis will be held in juvenile hall without bail. That's according to District Attorney Steve Wolfson, who talked to reporters after their court appearance this morning. Wolfson says the families of the defendants were in court, and he says he hopes the family of the victim can get justice.
So that family was shattered, and then all the other families and their lives have been shattered as well. So it's a sad day that all this happened. But at the end of the day, I believe there have to be consequences. People make choices. And based upon their choices, there needs to be consequences and punishment.
And Wilson says the teens are going to be in juvenile hall instead of the main Clark County Detention Center as a safety precaution. They're due back in court on December 14th, and the teens, along with several others, are accused of beating and killing Jonathan Lewis back on November 1st.
And with a story like that, man, I figured it would make the most sense if I talked about what my trip to Vegas was like. Look, I'm from Arkansas, you know, literally the heart of the Bible Belt, right? And I haven't traveled very much in my life. As I just told you, it was my first time on a plane. I've never been out the country. In fact, I don't even own a passport. I plan to change that next year. And one of the biggest takeaways that I got from being in Vegas, both just being out there in general and also interviewing people while I was out there, the biggest takeaway that I had personally, and this is going to sound so weird, it seemed to me as if every other person I met was gay. Openly gay, blatantly gay, or came off in a way that was extremely feminine. It just seemed that everyone out there was very fluid or on a spectrum, or, you know, it didn't really matter to them, trying to figure it out, right? And again, I understand I grew up in Arkansas, and the entire world is, you know, doesn't necessarily reflect Arkansas, but for a lot of us as humans, our reality is what we experience. Our world, right, and who we talk to, what we hear, what we see, that's what life is for us. And going to a place like Las Vegas, which I'm sure a lot of you may be from large metropolitan areas throughout the country, you know, but for me, growing up in a small town here in Arkansas and going to Vegas, most people that I interviewed, as you'll see as I start to drop these clips more frequently, because I have some fire content coming, y'all, for real.
Would you be willing to date a woman that's a virgin or a woman that's promiscuous? Which one are you willing to choose?
Either.
It doesn't matter to you?
Depends on the type of girl she is, you know what I'm saying?
So you've met women that are promiscuous but acceptable for you to date before?
Yeah. I'm not
Break that down for
that
me.
I dated them, you know what I'm saying? But like,
No, I'm asking to date. Would you
Sure.
rather date a woman that's promiscuous or a woman that's a virgin? You gotta pick one.
I mean, doesn't matter to me either way.
Okay.
As long as they don't have any STDs and like they're not lying about relational shit like that.
Okay, facts. What about you? A promiscuous man or a virgin, and why?
I would rather have someone promiscuous because at least they know what they're doing.
Wait, because you know.
At least they know what they're doing. Like, if dating a virgin, I feel like you'd have to teach them a lot of stuff.
All right.
So that would be a lot of work.
Most of the people I interviewed, no one ever mentioned God. Most of the people I talked to on camera and off camera, it didn't seem to me, it didn't appear to me that most people had integrity, right? And it was very depressing to me. It seemed like everybody was focused on having fun. But the biggest takeaway for me, of all things that I've said so far, the biggest takeaway from the Vegas trip easily had to have been the consistent and obvious fact that everyone seemed to work extremely hard to try their very best to not offend other people. So in other words, they would do or say things that would allow them to fit in, right? People don't want to stand out for truth, or people don't want to stand out. I should even use truth because someone would argue that truth is subjective or is such a general vague term. So I'm going to be even more specific here. When I went to Vegas, it seemed that most people that I saw, most people I talked to, most people I heard talking to other people, it seemed as if people was just trying to be liked, right? People was just trying to make sure that they don't offend someone, right? No one mentioned God. So I'm like, nobody believes in God anymore. It almost makes me want to say that the world is changing. But the scripture says that there's nothing new under the sun. So that tells me that the world has always been this way. People like this has always been out there. It's just, for me, now that we're living in the age of social media, one is being filmed now. So you're seeing all the diverse types of people that are in this world. But also me living in Arkansas and you know, not just living in Arkansas, but spending majority of my life in Arkansas, right? And not traveling more as opposed to some of you that may travel. It showed me that, like, no one has a backbone anymore. Everyone just wants to have fun. Everyone's just living their life, right? And it's like, no one wants to do what's harder to do, right? Which is discipline. No one wants to do what's harder to do, and that's stand up for truth. No one wants to do what's harder to do and go against evil. It's like everybody was just doing their own thing, having fun. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's out of bounds. You know, do what you want, say what you want, wear what you want, live your life. And it's like, when I got out there and I saw that, it was like so eye-opening for me, man. it was almost depressing. But from a content creating perspective, that made me just that much more eager to interview people to see if that would translate what I was, peeping and what I was observing. Would that translate when I interview people? And oh my gosh, did it translate?
What is Michaela and Francis's opinion on God, and if religion or spirituality plays any role in your relationship or the decisions that you make as it pertains to your relationship?
I would probably say that it doesn't for you at all.
Francis is like,
and really, I don't know that it pertains to me, like in terms of what decisions we make in our relationship. I consider myself pretty open to the idea that I don't know, and I'm gonna figure it out eventually, someday.
more agnostic.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably more agnostic. I was raised like very Christian. There's a whole lot of baggage that comes with that, good and bad. And so I think I am just resigned to wanting to appreciate like as much as I can about life. And I think that love is one of the best things that as a human being we get to experience. And so
You think love is the most important
I
thing?
absolutely do. I totally do.
It was also very surprising to me the amount of people that didn't even grow up, that grew up in households that were not religious, people who had to quote unquote find God on their own, right? All of those sorts of things was mind blowing to me, man. I enjoyed the Vegas trip in the sense of I got to ride on the plane for the first time in my life. I enjoyed the Vegas trip because I got to see Vegas. It was amazing. Like they call it what, the city of sin. I call it the city of. They say Las Vegas. A person out there told me that another name for Las Vegas is Lost Wages, because it was so freaking expensive out there, man. Like $25 for a drink, but you got to know where to go and when to go in particular places, because they will overcharge a lot of people who coming in visiting, right? But yes, I enjoyed it in the sense of Vegas is extremely beautiful. A lot of monumental buildings out there. I don't think Vegas gets enough credit for that. But yeah, man, like it was very disappointing, but very eye-opening. Have you ever been to Vegas? Have you ever traveled? What's some of the best places you've ever traveled to? Have you noticed this as you've been to other places in your life? Have you noticed that most people just spend their life just trying not to offend other people, wanting to fit in and go with the flow and go with the trend, and no one cares about integrity, no one cares about God, no one cares about morals. It just brought a different light to what you see on social media. The very thing you see on social media, it's in real life in Vegas. And that's what was so eye-opening. It was so jaw-dropping. It's like people exaggerate things on social media. People try to make something more for clickbait and just for, No, it's real life. It's real freaking life. Hop in the comment section, man. Give me your thoughts. Have you ever been to Vegas? Have you ever been on a plane before? Have you noticed these things? Hop in the comment section. Give me your thoughts. I would really, really appreciate it, man. Until next time. Peace.
Oh, yeah. Diddy got a podcast.